It's gonna be another hot day out here in the valley. The mornings are always so like misleading. It looks beautiful out there. And the temperature's not bad either. It's like probably 80, 85 degrees right now, but I think it's supposed to get about 115 today. But then on the roof, you can usually add 5 to 10 degrees depending on the particular roof. So let's get it.
This video is brought to you by Sporlan, quality, integrity, and tradition.
All right, this is our problem child right here. It's a kitchen AC. I was here working on another AC recently, and this guy was not running. I did not spend any time troubleshooting it. All that I did was the manager said it was warm. I walked over to it. I didn't feel anything running, indoor blower motor or anything. I did not open control panels or anything. I simply switched it on and off to potentially try to reset any safeties, and then made sure that a breaker wasn't tripped. That is the only troubleshooting I did. Now, normally I wouldn't do that, but it was a really hot day and I had no patience. It was that 120 degree day video that I made. So I had no patience, wasn't gonna spend any time on it. So we had them issue an actual service request, and we came out today and we're gonna go through this guy and see if we can figure out potentially what is going wrong. So we open it up and we have no power. Doesn't look like the transformer's tripped. I haven't gotten my meter out yet. Yeah, this is a 3-phase unit. We opened up the indoor blower assembly just to see what that looked like. This thing is greasy as all get up right now. That's gonna need to be degreased at some point. That's not good. But okay, we're gonna get the meter out and start checking voltages. All right, let's go ahead and check voltage. Looks like nothing. Something. So we're probably gonna have a blown fuse. Let's go and open up this disconnect switch. Let's see what we got going on in here. So this is incoming power. Boy, this is a 208 volt system, 3-phase. So 99, 1 to 2, 211, 2 to 3, and 1 to 3, 106. What the heck? All right, let's check to ground. 19 volts to ground. That is a trip. Keep going over. 120, 120. There's something funky going on here. All right, we need to go downstairs to the breaker panel and see what's going on down there. All right, this labeling could be all messed up, but I believe that this is our breaker right here. So we're gonna go ahead and test it. It's not tripped. There's nothing tripped in the panel. It's certainly messy, but I've seen worse. So we're gonna test voltage at the breaker and see if that's where the issue's at. All right, here's what we got going on. It is this breaker. So 211, phase B to C. Phase A to B, we've got 99 volts. And phase A to C, we have 106. And then if you go to the bus bar right here, you got proper voltage, proper voltage, proper voltage. So the problem is the breaker. We're gonna go ahead and put the panel back together, and then we'll reset it. I don't wanna reset it with it off just in case it blows up or something. So we're gonna put that on, reset it, see if we can get it to reset real quick. And then we'll have to get an electrician to change this. I also would like to see that breaker go up in size if there's room, although that wire's only 10 gauge because there's 45 amp fuses in the unit and it's only a 30 amp breaker, but it's minimum 30, maximum 45. So all right, I turned it on and off a bunch of times and I actually got it to give us the right voltage now. More than likely, in my experience, they get full of sand here because we are in the desert. 200, 211, 213. Still though, look at that voltage drop. 202, 211, 213. But we're gonna try to fire this guy up and see if we can at least just test the unit out to make sure there's nothing else going on. So we're gonna close this, and I did check the fuses already too. Close this, flip it on, see what happens. See if we can at least get something going on here. No. because we're not even lighting up on this. Yeah, something's funky here. Yeah, I don't think this thing's gonna reset. Yeah, that's weird. It's got like 0 volts. What the heck? Yeah, I don't think it can handle a load. Let's test this again. 98, yeah. See, it can't handle a load. It went back to its normal goofy self. So that breaker's definitely toasted. Yeah. Yep. All right, well, I have the manager trying to get the electrician out here right now. I told him I'll stay for an hour if they can get the electrician out within an hour. We've got a couple other things to do. So while we were up here the other day, we noticed that one of these drains was overflowing right here. It was just overflowing out the trap, and we had the hose, so we tried to blow it out, and when we blew this out, it blew over into this drain. So I had someone cover up that drain, and then I blew it out again, and it felt like it broke free, and then all of a sudden it was blowing out over in that drain. So they're all interconnected underneath. So we've got a plugged up main. So we're gonna go ahead and clear that right now, and then hopefully the electrician will be here by then. This is one of their drains, and it's full. So a couple of them have been ran to the roof drains. Not very well, but see this right here. Now if you look at this, good gosh, what the heck? This one's ran over here like a tweaker got up here. Look at that. Tweaker got up here and broke the drain line. All right, well, we might as well fix this today too. That's silly. Okay, well, the first thing we do is we disconnect these guys, and we're gonna blow out this main. What we do is we go to all the drains that are connected and you tape them off so they can't go anywhere, okay? And we did that for multiple ACs, and then you come over here and tape this guy to it, and then we're gonna go downstairs and try to find the outlet, and we're just gonna let this run, and we should get a drain snake if I can find the outlet. There we go. All that's filling that drain up. It's all coming from that. So we went ahead and cleared this too, because I didn't want to wait for a plumber to come. What was happening was it had this primary, and then it had that secondary screen, and it just kept getting plugged up with gunk. So we got the shop vac, cleared it out. I don't got all the fancy tools, so I just hooked a towel to this and blew that drain really good for a while. Blew that drain. It's like we're blowing out another AC right now. So once we got the main cleared, it's not bad. You can see just the chunks coming out. We're just moving from AC to AC to make sure that our lines are 100% clear. I'm trying to stall because we're waiting for the electrician to get here. I don't know if he's going to show or not. I mean, I'll turn the unit back on. I just don't know if there's any other problems. So what we're going to do, we're going to give it another hour. So we're going to go ahead and pull the top. We got 2 people here anyways. We're going to pull the top, clean the condenser, and give the evaporator a rinse, tighten up the belt, because we can do that while we're waiting for power. And if he's not here by the time we get done with that, then we'll just bounce. Got the whole top off. The condenser's really not that bad, but we went ahead and split it anyways. It's only dirty where it was not getting airflow. But like down in here, it's not bad down there, but we're still gonna go through and give it a good rinse. Try to get it as good as possible. And then I'm gonna get some cleaner on this evaporator because it's got some grease on it. Got to be really careful, okay? The condenser coil did not need any cleaner. It was just sand. We rinsed it all out. That's cool. There's no need to put cleaner on it. But the evaporator's got grease, okay? But I had to use the blue cleaner. But the blue cleaner has some fumes to it, so you got to be very careful. You don't want to do it on a dining room AC with customers in building. Luckily, this is a kitchen AC. They've got exhaust fans running. We're not going to have a problem. But I'm just spraying it on, letting it sit for the minute. It is this one, the blue Viper Brightener. So we're using that, and then when we're done, we're going to do the evap cleaner, and then we'll sanitize it with the Strike Back cleaner. So we're just letting it sit. We'll have to do a couple rinses, get some of that grease off. Started on the C setting as in Charlie. So get that yummy greasy goodness all coming out of there. Yum. For the big nasty grease, I take this wire brush once the cleaner's been sitting on there and just kind of brush it off, and we'll clean it up. But it helps to get this big stuff off because it's going to take forever for the cleaner to get all that. So just break it down with the brush, get all these spots where the filter creases are and everything. Just try not to destroy the condenser if you can, or evaporator I should say. Just waiting for it to drain, do another rinse. But check this out, I was looking at this. I thought this was a piston, but it's not. It still has the fixed orifice metering devices in here, like the little actuators. So they went mechanical connection coming out the dryer into that. That is weird, huh? Why would they do that? That seems like a mechanical fitting would cost them more when it comes to production. It doesn't make changing the fixed orifice metering device any easier. I don't understand that. Because yeah, you can clearly still see that there's little pistons in here, or they usually are. So what the heck is that about? That is weird. If that isn't a fire hazard, I don't know what is. That's insane how much grease. This heating is going to get disconnected permanently because they don't ever use it here anyways, but still, that's bad. They need to do something about this grease. So we're going to degrease that guy real quick. I'm on my last rinse, letting this sit one more time on this guy. It is going to be a miracle if this thing's not out of balance, man. This thing is so nasty. I'm having to like fill it up and soak the wheel. It's just so caked with shit. It's about as good as that evaporator's going to get. This thing's kind of a piece of junk. I'm going to grab some sanitizer, which I don't know where I put it. Oh, it's right here. Grab some sanitizer real quick. And we'll give this guy a couple sprays down, and then we'll start assembling it. We're still cleaning the indoor blower assembly. So should be good. Get some on the other side. Spray some from over here too. It's amazing. That is such a fire hazard. They know they have a hood problem here. I've been telling them forever they need to get their hoods replaced because they're just really old and they're not made for all the equipment that they have. So the kitchen's really greasy, and this is what happens. Just destroys everything. I'm pretty confident this blower wheel is going to vibrate, but we're probably going to have them change it because this thing is just, I mean, it came pretty clean, but still, there's so much grease in there. It's insane. They got to fix these kitchen problems. But drain's clear, coil's clean. Those filters too, when we pulled them out, they looked like they were wet and we couldn't figure it out. No, that's grease. That's so dangerous. This is nuts. And all their exhaust fans are working, but they just recently remodeled their kitchen and moved equipment around and stuff, and they're probably got stuff that's just coming right out of the hood. It's insane. That end. Oh, this is running, but I don't think the water pump's working. I don't know. But yeah, it's a mess. So, all right, we got the electrician replace the breaker too, so we got proper power now. So we're gonna put this unit back together. I already checked power. It's good now. So here we go. Actually, it's not vibrating. It's got a little vibration, but it's not bad. I thought it would be a lot worse. Oh, there it goes. Yeah, it's going. I can hear things shaking. We're running at 4 amps right now. Let's wait till this bad boy fires up. Yeah. Here goes the compressor. 16 amps. 17 amps. They're looking good so far. Inch fan motor's running. Everything's good. All right, we're gonna let it run for a little while. All right, so we're using Measure Quick here. And according to Measure Quick, let's go through this. Superheat's just a little bit high. It's not horrendous. Subcooling's doing pretty good. Our pressure targets are somewhat good. Suction line temperature's a little bit high. Let's move on over. Outdoor air temp's about 108. Looking good. We have a high temperature split. It's really hot in that kitchen. And also I imagine we're probably pulling a little bit of outside air through the economizer damper too. Airflow looks to be low. And I think we have high return static because that panel is like sucking on. So I wouldn't be surprised if the return air grills are really dirty too. But look at that temp split too. That temp split's really high. So ductwork issues are pretty common. Also on this unit, I noticed when I was pulling everything apart that the supply and returns aren't 100% open, meaning that it should have had a curb adapter basically. But these restaurants half the time don't want that stuff. They don't want to spend a bunch of money on all this. They just want cold, and they usually don't want to fix ductwork and things like that. I'm not scared about anything. Now, everything's kind of doing about as good as it can on this unit. Tested current draw and everything. After it's been running for a while, the unit's only running 18, almost 18 and a half amps. That's not a problem at all. We got a 30 amp breaker. Current draw on the condenser fan motor, we're allowed to run 1.7, so that's good. Indoor blower motor, I believe, is allowed to run like 5, or no, it's allowed to run 8, I think. 5.5 is what it's running right now. Indoor motor is allowed to run 4 or 8.4, so we're doing fine. Compressor, yeah, that's combustion motor. Indoor compressor is allowed to run 15.9. 15.9, we could get that guy right here. Let's see what this guy's doing. Yeah, we're not even running anywhere near full load on the compressor. I'm not seeing anything with this. I have no voltage drop across the contactors. Everything's looking good. I don't see a reason for the breaker to trip. I think it was just a faulty breaker. It wasn't tripped when I arrived, but the fact that we lost phases makes me think that it tripped and then it didn't reset. Everything's good. We cleaned it up as best as possible. This is one of those situations where you're never gonna win. I'd like them to replace that blower wheel, but I don't know if they will. It's not vibrating that bad. It's got a little bit of a vibration, but that's it. We're gonna wrap this one up. This is the return. They're gonna clean these. I pulled them down for them. They're gonna put them back up themselves. So this is the other one. It's like plug-o.
I mentioned that this call started a previous visit, and it was a really hot day. The customer actually gave me warning when I was coming out to fix the previous AC. Okay, that was the one that I had to change the add the liquid line dryers to the heat pump, and then repair a leak. So while I was there, actually before I came to do that, when I scheduled that job with the customer, they said, hey, you know, we have a kitchen AC that's down. And I told them right then and there, like, I don't think I'm going to get to the kitchen AC, because I knew I was going to be on that particular AC all day long. And I knew I was going to be exhausted because it was going to be a hot day. So that was the case. When I finished fixing that heat pump unit, the customer said, hey, so can you look at my other AC? And I said, no, it's not going to happen. We were exhausted. We'd been on the roof for 8 hours or 7 hours, I think. It was 115 that day. I was like, it's absolutely not happening. And the customer was like, oh, you can't just look at it? And I was like, no, it's not going to happen. You know, we're taking our tools off the roof. You guys can wait. We'll schedule another day. And they understood, but you know, they just wanted to get their stuff fixed. But I was just like, it's just not going to go down. You know, we were exhausted, and we have to know our limits when we're on a roof that long. Yes, you know, of course, you know, you want to do them a favor and you want to try to help them out. But I knew I was spent that day. I could not do anything else. So we rescheduled. We had them put in a proper service request, and I went back out super early again. Had the customer come in early in the morning. That's why you see when I'm driving out there in the dark. Had the customer get there. Once we got there, we went through everything. For safety reasons, I don't normally bring 2 service techs, but again, in those extreme heat situations, I'll usually bring another service tech with me. So we did. The customer understands it. I get these questions all the time. People saying, you know, how do you bill the customer for all this time? The customer is free to call someone else anytime that they want to. I try not to gouge customers. I try not to, you know, take advantage of them or anything like that. But myself and my employees come first before the customers. So in a situation where there's a potential we could be on the roof all day and it's dangerous heat outside, of course I'm going to try to schedule another service tech. Okay, so in this situation it worked out. I brought another service tech with me, and it actually ended up not needing the other service tech. Okay, but it was still kind of cool to have them because it just made the day go by that much faster. Okay, this particular call, I want to say we were probably there anywhere between 4 to 6 hours. Okay, so yeah, that would have been a much longer day. I probably would have saved, you know, 2-3 hours having that other guy with me, or I would have used up an extra 2 to 3 hours getting all the tools and stuff off the roof. Okay, so we got there and we found that it was actually a power issue. Okay, we had a bad circuit breaker. Now, I certainly could have went and found an electrical wholesale house and picked up a breaker and replaced it myself. I get these questions all the time too. There's a lot of factors that go into me doing that kind of stuff. First off, I'm technically not really supposed to change a breaker, okay? Even though, you know, it's a gray area, one could argue that it's, you know, I could probably get away with it, but still, you have to factor in a lot of different things there, okay? Number one, I definitely wouldn't ask any of my employees to do that, okay? But I know I can do it, but it's just, But I'm an hour and a half away from my shop, Okay. So dare I go try to find, search for a supply house, which I could find one on the internet, but still search for a supply house, try to find a breaker. I'm not super familiar with that breaker. I'm not super familiar with that area. Okay. This is all the stuff going through my head. So first off, I'm going to spend a bunch of time trying to find a supply house. I don't know which supply house carries that breaker, so I might visit a few different electrical wholesale houses until, I find the right one. Then I replace the breaker and say that doesn't fix it, or there's something else wrong. Say that when I pull the breaker off, the bus bar is burnt. At that point, they're going to have to call an electrician anyways, right? So I usually will step back and let the electrician handle their job. I will handle my job. To a certain extent, I might do a little bit because, hey, I could swap out a breaker or something like that. Or, hey, I can blow out a drain line without calling a plumber, okay? But I have to know when to step back and say, no, I'm not going to do that part. You need to get an electrician out. In this situation, I went ahead and had them call an electrician. Luckily, there was other things I could do. So I knew I had to blow out that other drain or the main for the building. And then I also knew that this AC was really greasy. So I figured, you know what? The customer's paying me anyways. While I'm waiting for the electrician, we're going to go ahead and disassemble this AC. And it actually worked out almost perfect. By the time the electrician got there, found out what he needed, went and got the part, and got back and had it installed, we were done cleaning the air conditioning unit, degreasing it, and blowing out the building's main for the plumbing for the air conditioning drains, okay? So I was able to utilize the time that we had in waiting for the electrician to finish that and keep ourselves busy so that way the customer got the best bang for their buck, okay? Now, the next question is why did I stay? Why not just tell the electrician to change the breaker and turn it on? Again, my time is really valuable, and in my head, I'm thinking all this stuff through. I don't want to have to come back here if I don't have to. There's nothing worse than telling the electrician to change the breaker and then just turn it on and let me know if you have any more problems, and then they call me again a couple days later. It's like, why not? I had a little bit more time. Basically, I had to wait about 2 hours for the electrician, which is a great response time if you think about it. They called the electrician, a local guy. He was able to get out there, get the breaker, get it replaced within about, I think it might have been 2.5, maybe 3 hours. But still, he had it done quick, and I was able to still properly troubleshoot the unit to make sure there was nothing else going wrong with it, and we cleaned up the unit, okay? As far as the drain goes, that particular situation, I've shown that in videos before. The drain uses a common drain. So all the air conditioning units have a 7/8 inch drain line or a 3/4 inch plumbing pipe hitting the roof deck. And then underneath the roof deck, they go to a common drain line. In this situation, it's very common for restaurants that were built in the late 80s to early 90s to do this kind of a setup where they ran a common drain. And typically if you guys are ever looking for them, they usually exit or, terminate into a floor sink somewhere, usually in a mechanical room or in a mop sink or something like that. You can usually find a spot. It's pretty easy to find. But in this situation, what they did was they have, actually at one point in time, they had like 9 ACs going into one common trunk line, basically, or one drain line that was only a 1-inch drain line. So multiple 3/4 inch drain lines ending in a 1-inch drain line. They really should have gone into like almost a 2-inch drain line. They would have prevented this problem. This wouldn't have happened if this was a 2-inch drain line. You wouldn't have plugged up the main, almost guaranteed. You would just have individual restrictions in the 3/4 inch drain lines, okay? So in this situation, it's another one of those things where, yes, theoretically, that is the plumber's job, okay? I blow out the drain at the AC, and if it's plugged up after the air conditioner, well, it's it's the plumber's problem. But it's one of those things. Like, it's there. I'm there. I know how to blow it out. I mean, I'm not using snakes or anything, but I mean, just use logic. Find the AC that's highest, start there, and start blowing out, and then work your way down to the lowest drain, and just clear them all. Also, I went from every AC and plugged up when I would blow out one AC, I'd plug up all the other drains, and then as I moved along, continue plugging them up. That way we cleared the entire line, so we probably won't ever have to do this again, or at least a couple years. All right. It's really important to try to think logically. Like, why did that breaker fail? My thought was maybe it tripped. Okay. It's a possibility that it was just a bad breaker, but maybe it tripped at some point. Okay. And that's why I still stayed back to watch the unit. make sure nothing's shorting out, amping everything out. Look at the electrical connections. That's a fairly new unit. I think it was only a couple years old. You know, I didn't see anything else wrong with it at this time, but I still left a disclaimer on the invoice like, hey, don't know what caused the breaker to fail, don't know what caused the problem in the first place, but I did my due diligence, cleaned the unit, checked everything, checked all the electrical connections, torqued them down, made sure they were tight. Do not see anything else wrong, you know, so that way the customer knows, like, I did my best, but I never found the real reason that caused the breaker to fail and or trip in the first place. But maybe it was just a fluke, you know. You notice that a lot of the breakers have been being changed in that panel. I don't know if you guys go back to the scene right there, and you'll start to see multiple breakers have been replaced. And I'm starting to notice a trend at this restaurant that they're starting to have a lot of failures with their circuit breakers. I know for a fact that they have an issue with sand here. So sand will gum up those breakers, makes the contacts not make right, you know, and then they start to have issues. So again, just take a step back and look at the big picture, guys. I'm not perfect. I certainly miss all kinds of things. Nobody's going to be perfect. Just do your best to look at everything, okay? Really, really appreciate you guys taking the time to make it to the end of this video. That is awesome when you guys do that. Keep in mind, merch is still available on the website, hvacrvideos.com. We have the shirts, the hats, and stay tuned. Hopefully within the next couple weeks, I'll have samples, and then a couple weeks after that, we will have beanies for the wintertime coming. So those will be coming soon. So stay tuned. That'll be there. Hats, we're doing good right now, but we're actually almost out of the large hats. We only have a few left. And then we are completely out of the small, medium hats, but I already have an order that I placed a couple weeks ago. They usually take a couple weeks to get them, make them, and deliver them. So hopefully a few more weeks we'll have some more small mediums, and we'll have a restock of the large, extra large hats. They'll be back in. But I think at this moment right now when I'm filming this, I think I have like 15 large, extra large. So there's still a few. You guys can grab them. We still have plenty of shirts. So really, really appreciate it. If you guys are considering any tool purchases, do me a favor and check out TrueTechTools.com. If you like their pricing and you can't source it locally, check it out. I really like their customer service, and they have a great selection on their website. You can use my offer code BIGPICTURE, one word, Big Picture. It'll save you 8% on your order, and I get a small commission from it. It helps to support the channel, okay? Other than that, we will catch you guys Monday evening, 5 p.m. Pacific time when I go live on YouTube on my YouTube channel. I do the live streams to kind of answer questions, consolidate the comment questions and different things in the emails that I get, and try to just answer them on there. So come check it out. We'll see you there. All right.